Hey golfers, do you struggle with lag in your golf swing? Do you struggle finding the ground, taking a divot? And if you do, it tends to be way behind the golf ball? If so, this video is for you. I had a recent lesson with Whitney, and she was struggling with finding the ground, brushing the ground, and if she did, it would be way behind the golf ball. And we got her hitting ball then ground, taking little divots within 15 minutes of our lesson, and she was super happy with the results. So make sure you stay tuned and watch how we made that huge transformation. My name is Maggie Simons, but my friends call me Mags for short because I help them master a great swing. So let's jump straight into this lesson and see how it can help you with your golf game.
The biggest thing was our wrist hinge, right? So we've struggled to hit the ground even in practicing for a long time.
Yes.
Right? So we saw when we started, we were here, basically no leverage, no wrist hinge. And then, so by the time we got to impact, we had nothing. So if we hit the ground, it was a mile behind the ball.
Right.
And if we happened to make contact in the right spot, we were adding loft. Feel like we're going to let those wrists hinge. So by the time that our left arm parallel to the ground, it looks like that kind of that 90-degree hinge here.
Yep, so see if we can get it set in that cradle a little bit sooner. So we're gonna feel like it's already set there.
Okay.
So like that last one, you eventually got it there, but it was a little late.
Okay.
And so I know in your actual swing, probably not gonna do it as much, right?
Okay.
So I wanna feel like we're really getting it set there.
Okay.
At least by the time that left arm is parallel to the ground. It's okay. Go slow. You don't have to feel it super fast. Yep. I do one where you pause it where the left arm is parallel to the ground. Yep, so see how your arms are even a little bit higher than parallel? Yeah, you're right. Yep. Yes. Get that tee.
Stand right back here and watch me here. So I want you to feel same thing with what we're doing with the wrist setter, but at address, I want you to feel like we're gonna basically kind of set up in our impact position a little bit more. So we're gonna more so than we would do in our actual swing. But I want you to feel like we're kind of really starting over on this left side pretty good. You can see how I have barely any weight here. Okay, and we're gonna kind of just hang out here. We're gonna hinge our wrist, and then we're gonna come through kind of with a short follow through.
Okay.
So, again, number one thing we're trying to do is elevate the contact, right? So we know that at impact, if we hit the ball well, that pressure is going to be probably 90% on that left side at the moment of impact, right? So we're going to kind of just go ahead and start there. We're just going to kind of start a little bit more left. We're going to hinge it back to here. And you don't even have to go all the way up to a full swing. We can just get it to this L position with the hinge.
Okay.
And we're going to come through and rotate our body. And we're going to try to knock that tee out.
Okay.
But you can see I'm staying on my left the whole time.
Right.
So it'd be really hard to hit the ground too far behind the ball. Right? Now, as we come through, we still have to make sure we're keeping those arms nice and long, right? No T-Rex arms.
Right.
But we're just going to start left, hinge, and abbreviated follow through.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
And so go back to the start. So again, it's this motion, right, that we're feeling. Yep. And now from there, we just gotta feel like we're gonna come down and brush that ground. Yep. Really good. So set up to that tee you got right there. And let's see if we can get it set and then. Yes! Let's go! How good was that?
That felt good. Yeah.
Where'd the tee go? I don't know. We hit it. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Here's our L.
Oh yeah.
Right? Starting to shift that body. So now at impact, right, it's better. Right, you can see, I see air underneath that trail heel, right, which tells us that you don't have a ton of weight back there. Right? Okay, so that's a lot better there. And I mean, and honestly, that even though that probably feels like you're keeping a lot of weight there, that's actually more of what we actually want.
Okay.
Because you tend to get
Sway.
Yeah. I can see air, and this foot comes up.
Yeah.
So even if we do everything perfectly with our wrist, that's just a lot of room that we have to recover to get back. Right.
to brush the ground in front of the ball.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And we're not practicing 8 hours a day. It's really hard to time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
Again, huge difference there with the left arm and the club.
yeah, so I mean, I think no matter how hard you were going to try to hit the ground with literally no wrist hinge, if you did, it was going to be way behind it.
Right.
Right? Because that club is lengthening,
Yes.
way too soon. So that radius of the club is going to.
Right. I knew
hit
there
the
was
ground way too
something
early.
very off.
Yes.
about
Yes.
those two.
And again, when you hit it so far behind the ball, your brain and like your instinct to like not hurt yourself, right, is
Right.
going to kick in even more.
Right.
And like, then your brain's like, I know I want to hit the ground, but I really don't want to do that.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I definitely think by keeping that weight more forward, it's going to help you a lot. So that way, when you do hit the ground, it's going to be more forward, getting that
Right.
low point of our swing circle a little bit more
Okay.
after the golf ball.
Okay.
Yeah.
So line up kind of
Yeah.
middle.
So balls are going to be in the middle of your stance. Yep. And
Okay.
it's going to feel, again, it's just going to feel like you're just kind of pushing, starting with that weight a little bit more left.
Okay.
Yep. Really close. But again, if that's your miss, right, that's going more than 30 yards.
Right.
Nice. Really good. Feel better?
Yeah. Much better. Just need to do it 1,000 times now.
So good. It's okay. The face was a little open, so I went to the right, but that's the least of my concern
Okay.
right now. Right, so you hit the ground, but see how you didn't even like take a lot of dirt?
Yeah.
Right, so that's going to start to get your brain being like, hey, it's okay. Go.
Yeah.
Right, it doesn't always have to be a
Right.
massive chunk. So I think that, the two big pieces of it for you are the hinge, and then starting with that weight forward.
Yeah. That was helpful.
So the combination of those two is what's going to get you hitting the ground in front of the golf ball.
Okay.
Okay, let's take a couple more. To that left side. So good. That's money. That's awesome. No, it's good. So we're setting it better, right? You can see how it's still. We're kind of letting the angle go just like a little bit early, right? Remember that video I showed you of Rory? How by the time the shaft was parallel to the ground, his hands were like already tied, right?
Right.
Right thigh there. So, kind of a second version of this drill that's just going to continue to make it even better for you. So stand right behind me here.
We're gonna go ahead and get the wrist set. Okay. And it's almost, we don't even have to go all the way up to parallel, but we're gonna get it set. And then I want you to kind of pump it down, all the way back down to where your hands are in front of your right knee.
Okay.
See how I still have that angle?
Yeah.
Right? So we're gonna go here, and then you can go, just kind of feel like we're maintaining that angle, you're maintaining that pressure on the swing guide here, right?
Okay.
And then from here, just do like a little tiny pump, right? And then swing through.
Okay.
So we're doing better of getting it set. We're still wanting to kind of
Keep it.
that angle
Keep it
a little
there.
early, right?
Okay.
So it's got to feel like we're keeping that angle a little bit longer. Again, where your hands are in front of that right thigh when the shaft is parallel to the ground, instead of for you the shaft was parallel to the ground and
Got it.
we were already
Okay.
starting to let that go. And again, that can just make you bottom out early
Right.
or not hit the ground at all.
Okay.
So just not only setting the angle, but making sure that we can keep that angle here. Just like a little pump for momentum. And then rotate through.
Okay.
Same kind of like a little abbreviated follow through with the straight arms.
Okay.
So we don't get the T-Rex
All
arms.
right. Yes.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's try it here. Practice.
Yep. And from here, you'll just like kind of just pump up for a little bit of momentum, and then feel how you're on that angle there. There. Straight. Yep. Right. now our shaft parallel to the ground, so your hands are right in front of your thighs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then from here, we just continue to rotate our chest. Arms nice and long.
See if I can do that. Feels weird.
Yeah. Weird is good.
Yeah.
Pride myself in making people feel weird. Yes. Money. Yep. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So L is your new favorite letter. Right?
Yeah.
Getting that hinge to that L. Okay, so hinge was good.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little T-Rex coming through.
Oh. Damn T-Rex.
Yeah. I know. Really wants to come back from being extinct.
Yeah.
Yep. Press that way forward. Good.
I like.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I want you to imagine there's like a a glass table, like right here, and your follow through has to be underneath this.
Okay.
Right. So the only way we can do that is we have to have a short follow through. Right. We're not gonna let our arms pre-hinge.
Okay.
Well, you know, in our full swing day, we'll eventually bend
Right.
and fold and then run up the follow through. But I want it to feel like, you know, our body's still turning all the way through like it would in a full swing. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Just like that. Don't break the glass table, okay?
Okay.
It's a lot of cleanup. So good.
So hard to not.
That,
Right.
but it's a really, really good drill. It fixes a lot of things in the golf swing. But the biggest thing is, right, it just maintains that radius of the club to the ground, right?
Okay.
Which is the most oversimplified way of what makes a good golfer better than an average golfer, better than a beginner golfer is. It can maintain that radius of the club to the ground.
Okay.
Right? So it's able to brush the ground, brush the spots.
Yes.
Every
That's what I
time,
was
right?
for.
Yep. So it also forces us to keep our body turning through because, you know, mobility wise, I'm very flexible, but I can't really go past here if I don't let my body turn through without my arms having to bend.
Right.
The only way I can keep my arms straight from this point is I have to keep turning,
Turning.
moving to my left side.
Right.
Right?
Okay.
So if we have that end goal in mind of keeping our arms straight,
Right.
then everything else kind of has to fall into place.
Has to just turn.
Yeah. So if we think, okay, I just have to get to this follow through, a lot of other stuff is going to line up
Okay.
to be able to achieve
Be
that
there.
position.
Right.
Right? Because if our body stops, our arms are going to take over, they're going to bend,
Right.
and there'll be a crapshoot of what happens going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, a couple more.
Right.
So good.
Still did my.
It's okay. You got away with it. Hit the ground maybe a smidge behind it, but
Yeah.
again, if we're thinking of, okay, the golf course, the shots that you've been getting,
Yeah.
even though you hit a smidge behind it, so maybe you didn't get 100% of the potential power,
Uh huh.
but that still went in the air, went pretty straight,
Right.
went further than 30 yards on the ground.
Yes.
Right? That's
Much
a
better.
lot more playable golf.
Right.
And in the end, right, it's kind of cliche in golf, but it's like golf's a game of misses, right? Our good shots will always be good and they'll continue
Right.
to get better, but
Right.
if our misses can be that
Can do that. Right.
versus
50.
yeah,
20.
just walking a couple steps to your
Yeah.
to your ball,
Yeah.
then you're really going to start to notice a big improvement in not only your score but also your enjoyment.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Golf's
Yeah.
more fun when we can hit those solid shots, right?
Right.
And that's why, you know, even initially, I'm not so concerned if the ball's going a little right, if that contact is there,
Right.
because we can hit a lot of straight shots that are not very good.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
If direction continues to be off, that, you know, that's pretty easy to fix. We've got to get the contact first.
Okay.
Awesome. Really good.
Thank you.
You haven't hit the ground this many times in
Ever.
forever.
Ever.
Awesome. It's really good.
Have your before swing on the left and towards the end of the lesson swing on the right. So immediately you can see a difference in the setup, right? We can see how on the right, we can see how your hip is definitely pushing more into your left side. We're starting with a little bit more pressure on that left side versus over here at the beginning swing. And you know, the biggest thing that we worked on during the lesson was the wrist hinge. So you can see on the left here how as we're taking it back, we don't have a lot of wrist hinge, right? So when that left arm is parallel to the ground at this point right here, you can see that basically that shaft is just matching it, right? There's no leverage, no hinging of the wrist at all. And as you continue to the top, you really just don't hinge your wrist much at all. So we don't have any angle to really bring down. So you end up kind of going a little further back than we want and bending your elbows because you're trying to find some sort of power. And then as you come down, since we didn't really set any angle, we don't really have much that we're bringing back into impact. And so we hit a lot of shots where we don't hit the ground. And that one we hit the top of the ball. And you can see really your impact position looks very similar to your setup position, right? You've still got, I mean, this is your impact position. You still have a lot of weight on that right foot. The arms kind of bend, a little T-Rex coming through. And we just really struggle to find the ground at all because we just have no wrist hinge. A club is really struggling to work down enough to find the ground. Versus on the right, you know, we got the little swing guide on you. So we started that pressure a little bit more left. We start to get those wrists to hinge the club a little bit earlier. So now, you know, by the time we get to the top of the backswing, we have a good, you know, at least 90 degree angle of hinge there, right? So a lot better. And then as we start down, because we have set some hinge, we have a little bit of angle, a little bit more angle that we're keeping. You can see now that that club is brushing the ground. The weight's a little bit more left, brushing the ground, and ball is going in the air nice and high, right? So huge difference in, you know, that backswing and the original one that we started with, right? Big difference. You can also see how on the left, your first swing, you know, you get that left heel coming up off the ground a lot, which makes you sway off the ball quite a bit and makes it harder to get back to your left side. And, you know, here on the right, you can see we got a lot more wrist hinge. We're kind of loading into the right side versus swaying. So that makes it easier to get that weight coming back to that front foot. So really good job.
Thank you so much for watching. Whitney did an awesome job making that change, helping her finally be able to take divots in front of the golf ball. And you can have that transformation too. So if you want a little bit more individual one-on-one help, we can do so through the Skillest app, and I have that link in the description below. And if you like this video, I would love if you would press that subscribe button so that way I can continue to bring you content like this every week. If you're still struggling with topping the ball, check out this next video and it'll give you a couple more drills to help you make solid contact. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you later.